Hello everyone, my name is Muhamad of Radyardhika from Bandung Institute of Technology. And today I would like to present to you my research with the title of The Influence of Financial Literacy Towards Investment Strategies and Interests of Young Investors in Indonesia. This presentation will consist of 5 parts. First is introduction, then literature review, methodology, findings and discussion, and last but not least is conclusion. Now let's start with the introduction. And I will divide the background part into 4 main points. First, early 20s can be an exciting period of time for self-discovery and advancement, but it can also be a time where some people develop a bad financial habit. There are many challenges that will be faced, including separating between what we want and what we need. When it comes to the demands of the younger generation in their 20s, it must be extremely tough to resist several temptations, especially when they feel very happy getting a salary for the first time. They usually tend to use the money to buy what they want, to treat friends or family, hang out, travel, and many more without thinking about other needs, especially if their parents are still working at that time. These unhealthy habits may influence their financial management decision. People who have a good level of financial literacy will be able to identify various financial products and their use. The implication is that they can get various benefit offered based on the level of risk they can bear. It can reduce the risk of various kind of fraud in financial investment. The second one, the number of investors in the capital market is growing, although it is still insignificant in comparison to the Indonesian population. Effort to increase the number of investors in Indonesia frequently enlists the help of a variety of groups, including Sharia investment galleries. It wants to recruit investors from all throughout the country, particularly from a campus circle. One of the roles of investor is to help the country expand its economy. One method of combating inflation is to invest, and it's also one of the criteria of country's economy to improve. The greater the number of investors in a country, the safer and the more stable the country to invest in. The third one, every year, millions of people become victims of investment fraud, with many of them being from the younger generation. There is a scarcity of information about the knowledge that contributes to financial problems. Many people struggle to comprehend their financial matters, such as taxes, bank interest, loans, and some various financial instruments. There are so many events that can disrupt a country's economic stability that leads to many unexpected things that can happen to the citizen of a country. For example, during the recent pandemic, many new investors were born due to the decline in many people's financial condition because of the termination of most of the employment contract. Many of them end up investing because they are forced by their circumstances without doing basic learning about the stock market itself. They only follow advice and also invitation from someone they think is more knowledgeable in this field, with the lure that they will get a huge amount of profit. In the end, they invest all of their asset and they had without the asset they had without doing research on what product they would buy and suffered a very significant loss. This can happen because of the lack of equitable learning about how important financial literacy is in our youth. The last one, investor devise investment strategies in order to plan their investment in such a way that they may maximize their profit. Investor can examine their objective and devise a focused strategy based on them. Investment strategies are always seen as a valuable instrument that an investor can employ in order to invest safely. A good investment strategy is more like a process than a fixed target. And all of that bring me to this research objective. First is to determine whether achieving financial literacy will have an influence on investment strategy and investment interest. The second one is to determine the influence of financial literacy towards people's investment strategies and interests. And the third one is to compare the difference of investment strategies between investors with different financial understanding. This research will also focus on answering these 3 questions. First is, what are the challenges in achieving financial literacy? Second one is, when is the best time to start learning to achieve financial literacy? And the third one is, how can the financial literacy influence people's investment strategy? Now we are going to the literature review. So, what is financial literacy? Financial literacy refers to the capacity to comprehend and use a variety of financial concepts and abilities, such as personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. Financial literacy is the foundation of your financial relationship, and it is a lifelong process of learning. Understanding how people may effectively handle their money is an important life skill that is required in all phases of adult's life. It's becoming clear that life preparation entails more than learning just how to read and write and becoming a tech-minded. The other definition of financial literacy, according to Otoritas Jasa Keuangan Republik Indonesia, is a set of process or activities aimed at improving the knowledge, skill, and confidence of consumer and the general public so that they can better manage their personal finance. Financial literacy's aim is to give financial literacy instruction to Indonesian citizens so that they can manage their finance wisely, as well as to increase access to information and the usage of financial products and services through the construction of infrastructure to support financial literacy. Yushan and Meduri also stated on their research that for various reasons, financial literacy is critical, especially in a country. Consumers that are financially knowledgeable may be able to weather harsh economic times because they have saved, purchased insurance, and diversified their investment. Financial literacy is also linked to a good financial habit, including paying bills on time, making loan on payment on time, saving before they run out, and responsibly managing credit cards. Now, there are many factors that can affect a person's life of financial understanding. Financial decision making is likely to become more difficult for consumer, compounding the challenges associated with financial literacy. The patterns are convergent, demonstrating the necessity of making well-informed financial decisions. Based on the research done by Moreno Herrero, Salas Velasco, and Sanchez Campillo, math and reading can be used to assess overall cognitive aptitude. People must be able to read and comprehend fundamental financial paperwork in order to be financially literate. People must also have a basic understanding of math to be financially literate. However, having a basic knowledge in finance alone is not enough. There are also other factors that can affect a person's level of financial understanding. In this regard, Marheni found that financial education, financial behavior, and financial experience of their parents all have a favorable impact on young individuals' financial awareness and those determinants interact. Based on the analysis conducted by Hamdani, the level of financial literacy for young people is still very small, even though there are students in study programs that closely related to financial literacy, such as finance and management and others. Many students are still too concerned with their financial future because they think that they still have parents who can help them so that they don't develop the learning about finance and they need and they don't implement it in their lives. And all that makes me comes up with an hypothesis. The value of financial literacy must be heavily emphasized in our sophisticated period where money is a top priority. The current condition is wreaking havoc on society, particularly among lower economic level students. The Ministry of Education should devote more resources to improve students' financial literacy. Financial literacy can have a favorable impact on children's future if they are taught and used while still in school. Next is the methodology. For this research, qualitative research-based method will be applied. The research was designated as a comparative study to compare the findings of previous studies on relevant issues, such as financial literacy, investment activities, investment strategies, and investment preferences. This research used as secondary data from journal articles, records, books, and periodicals. To fit in the subject that will be covered in this paper, the majority of the study results are from Indonesian research as a basis for comparison to find the right conclusion. However, the non-Indonesian journal articles are also used to better grasp the topic to be presented in depth and generally. And for data analysis, this research will analyze the secondary data that has been collected from journal articles, records, book, periodicals, and previous researchers. Now, for the finding and discussion. After analyzing several researches conducted in Indonesia and related to the topic discussed, the author, which is me, found that perceived return, perception of risk, minimum investment capital, and capital market training had a significant impact on investment interests and strategies. This can also indicate that the more information a young investor has about investing, the more motivated they are to invest, and vice versa. The less knowledge the young investor has about investing, the less motivated they are to invest. Young investor can better grasp how to invest with knowledge of investment. And furthermore, young investor will recognize that having adequate investment knowledge will make it easier for them to invest. As a result, young investors with a broad understanding of investment are more likely to be motivated to participate in it. Whether that motivation comes from the outside, from within the young investor in the shape of shifting demands, our needs, or the desire to cooperate. After analyzing of the data collected and also findings and the discussion, we can say that the main barrier to financial literacy is the investor themselves. Based on the findings of the other studies, it can be assumed that the investor social environment and their experience have a significant impact on their financial literacy level. Financial education initiative will be most effective if they are adjusted to the level of understanding of different age subgroups. Young investor with a high level of financial literacy will be able to think more deeply about their investment selection. Extensive knowledge will provide these young investors with a variety of investment options, each with its own set of advantages and cons, making them more cautious in their decision and lowering the potential risk of their investment. As a result, we can conclude that financial literacy has a substantial impact on young investors' interest and strategy. Nevertheless, there are other aspects that work in tandem with financial literacy to motivate and inspire young investors to raise their investment interest. And yeah, that's all from me. If you have any question regarding the presentation, feel free to comment down below. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.